Bubble wrap. Bubble wrap. Oh! It's my book! I should have known, but... Hi, I'm Ariana Taylor. This is my book. I told you I was right. I did. I'm gonna read it though. Wow. 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 My gosh. Like, I already know how it looks, but like, I made this. Oh wait, where's my favorite page? I need to find it again.
That's your favorite page?
Yeah, that's my favorite page. I should have known it was this. My God, how many copies are these? Can I keep one of them? I know we're supposed to be selling these, but like, I don't want this. Yeah, this is my book. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi guys, just wanted to talk to you about a phenomenal seminar that I attended this past week. The seminar is entitled The Journey to Healing, Reaching People with a Desperate Cry. Now this seminar is put on by none other than KW Ministries, hosted by Pastor Winston Taylor and his wife Kamala Taylor. Now the thing about the seminar is that it got us to tap into our inner self, to look back, to take an introspective look on our lives. There may have been things that had affected us as children that we did not deal with. And because of that, it impacts how, we live our life today. As children, we are impacted in ways that we sometimes haven't dreamt of, right? Whether it's, we were muzzled as children, whether we were not hugged, we were not loved, whatever those situations are, and we did not deal with them. And guess what happened? We grew up to adults and we bleed out on the people around us. Now, this seminar is very good in helping us to find a unique approach of how to experience authentic healing. So again, please reach out to KW Ministries. You can reach out to them also at their website, www.thejourneytohealing.net. Why don't you reach out and tell me your experience? I hope it was great, or it will be great as the one that I just had. Thank you.
Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to Monday Nights with KW Ministries. We are so excited to be here with you as always. So here we are. It's another Monday night. And I hope as you've become used to watching our program, that you have kind of had an understanding of who we are, what KW Ministries is, and what our goal is coming in on Monday nights, just kind of talking with different people. So now, if you're one of those people who falls into the category of, no, I don't know what this is about, and I'm watching for the very first time, then let me tell you a little bit about how this got started. So KW Ministries, really our kind of credo, our motto, the thing that we purport is that what we want to do is reach people with a desperate cry. Now, you might wonder, what is that? What do you mean by reaching people with a desperate cry? And to break it down for you, what that simply means is every single one of us have had an experience in our lives where we felt like we were at a really low place. We felt like we were in a place where, gosh, we couldn't see our way out, or it was hard to see our way out, or it was hard to make our way out. And so my husband and I, we had one of those very same experiences in our own relationship. And as we struggled and clawed and tried to make our way through that, we started thinking to ourselves, you know what? We're not alone in this. We are not the only people who have gone through challenges and have found it difficult to get out of it. We're not the only people who have felt like we're in a place of desperation. And so out of our own kind of journey, we started to reach out to others to kind of hear what their story is. And this is how Monday Nights with KW was born. Out of our desire to engage with other people who were also going through a journey of healing, to find out from those who had made it through how they got it there, to talk to those who were making it through and how they were doing that, and to hopefully inspire those who were at the beginning of their journey as to how they could make it through. So that's a little bit about us and what we do. Now, that's kind of where we're coming from. But we also have been able to engage in lots of different ways. So you're on with us here on Monday night, and you know we're going to have a really good conversation in a couple of minutes with somebody who is going through a journey of healing themselves. And over the past weeks, months, we've had some really, really interesting and engaging people who have taken us through different kinds of journeys. We've gone through a journey of divorce. We've gone through a journey with cancer. We've gone through a journey with grad school. We've gone through a journey with sickle cell. We've gone through so many journeys. And what we're finding out is that one of the things that we all have in common is that we all have the ability to come together and help each other through. So that's what we want to do here. Now, while you're engaging with us tonight, as we get ready to talk with yet another person, you want to go ahead and check out our website, because one of the other reasons that we like to do Monday Nights with KW is kind of a way for us to promote our website, if you will, because we've got a lot of great products that are on there that we would really love for you to check out. So if you want to head over to www.kwministries.net, you'll see right at the bottom of your screen, the link is highlighted there. If you want to go over there and check it out, you'll notice that we have a lot of comments, a lot of products. If you've been with us prior to my actually starting to chat tonight, you may have noticed a couple of our ads. And one of my favorite actually features this book, My Journey to Healing, Reaching Children with a Desperate Cry. I tell people all the time that, yes, you might think that I'm biased because this book was written by none other than Ariana Taylor, our daughter. But this book is her own journey through having a chronic illness. And there's so many kids that can relate to that. And something that she always says that kind of strikes me, and I think that other kids and other people can relate to this, is she said, you know what? One of the reasons why I liked writing this book is because I don't really like reading the books about my illness, because that gets to be really too dense, thick. It's really not written for me. So I wanted to write something that other kids could really just have a real story, something that they could relate to. And I think that she does a beautiful job kind of chronicling her experience and how God has been leading her through it. It's a wonderful, wonderful book that I would encourage everyone. If you've got kids, if you know kids, I would encourage you to go ahead and check that book out in our store. Other products that we've got in there include our devotionals. And really, when we first got started in the very beginning with KW Ministries, our devotionals were the first things that came out. So if you go to the website, you're going to notice devotional number 4. I kind of want to highlight that one tonight because I want to talk a little bit about it. A Journey with Jesus Through the Gospel of John, devotional number 4. And this was written by my husband. You'll notice that he's not with us here tonight, and there's a reason for that. So for the past week, you might notice he's not here tonight. He wasn't here last week. He has actually been traveling, and he has been in the country of Uganda, working with an orphanage there, helping those kids who were in a place of desperation to be able to max it, to get resources, to really see themselves in a different place. So he has been traveling doing that work. And tonight he's actually traveling back home. And as much as he would have loved to be here with us, that's just where things were. So he actually wrote this devotional, A Journey with Jesus Through the Gospel of John. And there's lots of things that I love about this devotional, but there's a particular thing that really stands out to me tonight that I want to share with you. It's a chapter that's called Live Again. And it highlights John 11, verse 25 and 26, where Jesus says, I'm the resurrection and the life. The one that believes in me, though he dies, will live again.
And so he asks a question in this chapter that I find is so profound, and I think so relatable for many of us if you have ever experienced a time of challenge in your life. He says, I have a question for you today. What is it that has died inside of you? What dream were you not able to give birth to? What vision was choked out of you? What aspiration did you have that didn't come forth? Can I ask you another question? Have you died? Yes, you're breathing. And yes, you're existing. But have you lost your energy? Have you lost your will? Have you lost your zest for life? Do you know what Jesus says? Jesus says, if you believe in him, even though you die, you can live again. I love that because I think we all go through periods in our life when we feel like the energy, the motivation, sometimes even the will to go on has been zapped out of us. And what this devotional is telling us is that Jesus has died so we can live again. So no matter what place you might find yourself in life tonight, when you're watching this a couple of months from now, whenever it is, if you're in that place, Jesus promises to give you life again, and you can count on that. So that's one of our devotionals that you can see featured there in our kwministries.net shop. You definitely want to check this out. It's not the only one. It's not the only product. We've got lots of great products there that you can check out. Additional books, additional devotionals, additional workbooks. Yes, I'm biased. This one is mine. But we've got so many great products that we want for you to check out. We want for you to share them with your friends and family. We want you to give them as gifts. We want you to just check it out because we believe that what we're doing here at KW Ministries can really make a change in somebody's life. One of the other things that we're really proud of doing right now is a journey to healing, reaching people with a desperate cry. We've got a women's seminar, Her Journey to Healing, reaching women with a desperate cry, that we offer in a couple of different ways. We offer it in person, we offer it virtual. We also offer a self-paced plan that's on our website as well. And so those are the things that we're doing here at KW Ministries. And our goal really, like we said, is to reach people with a desperate cry. And I'll expand on that, not just reach them, but to help people to make their way through this journey of healing. So we appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a great guest with us tonight. Her name is Kathia Hylton. We're going to bring her in after the break, and we're going to be talking through a journey through grief. Now, that's a tough one, but it's one that I think so many of us can relate to. We've all lost someone. We've all lost something, because grief doesn't have to be losing people. It can be about losing ways of being, right? It can be about losing career. It can be about so many things. So a lot of us can relate to this journey of healing, going through the process of grief. So we're going to bring Kathia in tonight, and we're just going to have a really open discussion about what that's like and how she's been making our way through. And so we're hoping as we go along tonight that you'll join in with us, come in the comments, kind of just chit chat with us, ask questions. If you've got input to share as well from your own journey, please feel free to join us and just chat alongside with us tonight. We are so excited to get into this conversation that's not often had, maybe not as much as it needs to be. So we're excited to do that tonight. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to bring Kathia Hylton in. right. Hey there, Kathia.
Hi, Kamala. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Happy to be here.
This is a really can be a really tough topic to talk about. So we really appreciate you being here. We really feel honored by you sharing this experience with us tonight. And we hope that the people listening, will be able to gain insight, strength, inspiration, whatever they need from being on with you tonight.
I hope God will use me to reach others tonight. That's for sure.
Amen. Amen. So, Kathia, let's start off this way. Tell our viewers just a little bit about you. Who is Kathia Hylton? That's a broad question.
Goodness. It's very broad. All right. Well, in a nutshell, Kathia Hylton. I'm born and raised in Mandeville, Jamaica. I'm married to Henry Hylton of 22 years now.
Wow.
2 children. One is a sophomore in college. The other one's a sophomore in high school. And I work at the General Conference. My background is counseling and social work, and I just love serving others and being used in any way that the Lord sees it fit for me to reach other people. So just happy to have the pleasure of being here to see how God will utilize my skills and my story to help others tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Kathia, your journey with grief it has come out of the loss of a really, irreplaceable relationship, your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your relationship with your mom. Tell us a little bit about that background and history.
Sure. So I will not be shy in saying that I was blessed to have the type of relationship with my mother that not many people get to have.
Mm-hmm.
In Jamaica, as you know, I'm the wash belly. I was the oops baby, right? My 3 siblings are, 7, 9, and 10 years older than me, before I came along.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, when they were away at school or, just moved out of the house, I was still home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still the only one home for the majority of my time. So I built a very close relationship to my parents, especially my mom, and due to different life experiences as well, which, that's whole other podcast if it needs to be. But I formed that we were each other's confidant, shopping partners. She was my little guinea pig because I loved to experiment in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
She, when I had children, she was there as a guide, very close to the kids as well. And so, even in adulthood, we were close, lived close together, like probably too close for some people, but we lived close to each other, but it was never an unhealthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all of us as siblings shared a very close relationship with mom. And and I'm saying mom because she's focused tonight, but we've always just been a very close-knit family as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my relationship with mommy was, we were communicating every day. And it was sometimes over foolishness, with a group chat with all of us, our regular Friday night calls. We were an integral part of each other's lives, integral part. So, when she passed suddenly, and I will say suddenly because it caught us completely out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear those commercials about medication, and they have the people happily moving around on the screen, and oh well, these are all the side effects. That is literally what happened to my mother. She had rheumatoid arthritis. Her medication basically wiped out her immune system.
Wow.
So she did not have what she needed to even fight the common cold.
Mm-hmm.
So any virus that entered, she couldn't fight it.
Yeah.
And so by time she was sick enough to get to say, hey, I need to go to a doctor, her organs were already shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically just went to sleep.
Yeah.
And never woke up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Kathia, when you describe, losing your mom suddenly, a couple of things, kind of go through my mind in terms of how people experience loss. You have the loss that's really tragic and sudden, and it's out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
You have some people who experience loss, especially, with parents and through the course of illness, and you have, this time period where you're already starting the grieving process. But what you're describing is kind of a hybrid almost of those two things, where the time period wasn't long, but there was a sense that something like this could happen. Am I reading that right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So basically, she was fine, and then like the Saturday, she started to feel a little ill. Nothing to write home about, really. She just wasn't herself, and then each day it just got progressively worse.
Mm.
And honestly, one of the things, so by the Tuesday, she was okay, let's go to the doctor. The doctor saw her, sent her to the hospital, and then that was it. We got the call very early, the Wednesday morning, I would say, to say that she had passed. And when my brother got the call to go down, he actually thought, okay, maybe they need to do some kind of procedure that needs somebody to sign something. So he went down with that in mind. Definitely not to hear the news that she was gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as you're going through this, from the moment that you first hear the news that mom isn't doing well and she's now gone to the doctor, to the point where you get this news, what's going through your mind? What's happening to you as you're kind of watching this progress?
Well, I can tell you, one of the things I really truly thank God for, I'll say it point blank, is that Tuesday morning I was rushing to work. And you're just like, I can't stop. You're already running late type of rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that still small voice that pick up the phone and call your mother. Call her. And I was like, oh, I'll call later. And it kept, call your mother.
Mm-hmm.
And by following that, just to say, okay, let me just make sure she gets to the doctor today.
Yeah.
So it was just a very simple, how you feeling? You're going to go to the doctor, make sure you do, blah, 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 blah. And we ended with the I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did not, we always end our conversations with I love you, no matter how many times we speak for the day. But if I didn't do that, I would be living with guilt as well, on top of whatever grief I'm having, because I would have known that was literally my last phone call with her. Additionally, what I had to process was the night before, when the kids were going to bed, my children, who were very close to her, I said to them, Grandma will be okay. I promised my children she's going to be okay, because she's at the hospital. She's getting the attention she needs. No one thought, even the doctors that saw her did not think that she would pass. Yeah. So, I made promises to my children. And so it's a matter of, how do I not only deal with my own grief and feelings, but how do I deal with helping everyone else process? Yeah. With dealing with making promises to my children that I obviously couldn't keep. And, with a background in counseling, I also felt, okay, I have the skill sets needed to get everybody through this, right? My family is hurting, my children are hurting, my siblings are hurting, my father's hurting. I have the skill set needed to get everyone through it. So I wasn't even thinking about myself. Yeah. At that point, it was like, okay, you need to get everyone through this. You have the skills, and therefore we're going to schedule your time to cry. We're going to schedule your time to grieve, because I knew I needed to cry, but not in front of everyone else. Everyone needed to see you being strong and supportive. So I went into denial, I guess, straight up denial.
Let me pause you there before you go into denial, because there's somebody listening who just said, what? What do you mean you scheduled your time to grieve? What do you mean? So how did you do that? Like, what was that thought process? I know you said, with the skill set that you have, that, it kind of almost sounded like naturally for you to schedule your time so that you can take care of everybody else.
Right.
How did you literally do that?
And it was weird because we got the news like it was before 5 in the morning when we got the news. And against everyone's wishes, I was at work for an 8 o'clock meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my head, I'm like, hold on, mommy wouldn't want me here on the ground crying and screaming like a banshee and acting like life was over. She would want me to get up and live, right? And whether she was in it or out of it, she'd want me to be, functioning and not a hot mess. And so for me, that's where it was. You have to continue with life as you know it, right? And you have to, yes, you still have to deal with the grief and deal with it in a healthy way, but you have to continue with life. And so I scraped myself off the floor. I went to work, and my life is typically as organized as I can possibly get it. So it was only natural to then schedule in time to cry.
Yeah.
So I allowed myself about 15 minutes.
So now you said, and I think you said it retrospectively, that you went immediately into denial. But at the time, did you know that that's what it was?
No, because in my head, I knew, I was well aware that she had passed.
Yeah.
Right. But I wasn't connecting the emotions with it. I guess it was still, and to this day, and I will tell anybody, I'm still trying to accept the fact that she's gone. I'm still in some form, and it's very confusing. And I will tell, and I understand mentally, like cognitively, I know she's gone.
Yeah.
But emotionally, that process is still, as far as being able to process the grief in a healthy way, because I thought I was doing it healthily, but in a healthy way. I'm just in the past maybe year or so processing that healthy. She's not here.
Yeah.
Life, you have to figure out how to live life without her.
How did you make that shift from what you described as what, looking back, was I didn't deal with this in the most healthy way in the beginning, but now I'm starting to in this past year? What created that shift for you?
The shift was I was not functioning in a healthy way. And I would say that because I wasn't, all right, the light bulb went off a couple times. My husband would tell me, you're not the same.
Yeah.
My best friend, people that knew me very well, had even said to me, you're smiling, but your eyes are blank. Your eyes are still, and I did the show very well. Making the process was realizing, okay, I'm snapping at my children. I'm snapping at my husband. I'm not eating properly. I am not exercising. I became silent and withdrawn. All the typical things of depression.
Yeah.
Right. But I started to have really, really very dark thoughts. It's just like I'm struggling to get out of bed. It's a real struggle every morning to do the things that I know I need to do. And just thinking, it would just kind of be better if, like, what's the point? What's the point of life? Would I say I was having suicidal ideation? No, I wasn't there. But it was almost like when I got to that very dark space where I was just not myself. Not myself. And I knew there was a time like right after the funerals, she had two, and the same day I got on a plane and went back to work. But every night I would sit in the bed and I'd look through the funeral pictures. I'd look at, pictures of her in the coffin, pictures of her, in the morgue, at the different stages. And there was one night where I just kind of went, I got out of the bed and I turned to my husband. I said, "Oh my gosh, mom's dead."
Mm-hmm.
It's like reality hit me. And I
Yeah.
mean, here we are weeks later and he's looking at me like I had lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yes, Kat." I said, "There was a funeral," as if I just figured it
Yep.
out.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he's like, "Yes." I said, "She's really," so, it's slowly sank in for me.
Yeah.
And just seeing where I was, I could tell you too that why my grief may have been delayed is
Mm-hmm.
that within months of my mom's passing, I had lost two other friends tragically. We had lost a family friend, I'd lost a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke about the different types of grief. Okay. I'd lost a friendship and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. There was, some stuff came to light. There's that betrayal, there's that loss of a
Mm-hmm.
friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't only just lose these people, but you lose the potential of what was there in
What
the
life was
relationship.
going to be like with
Yes.
the person
You
around.
know, when my daughter said, "Well, grandma's not going to be at my weddings." At my wedding, who's going to be at graduations and birthdays, and so you lose those traditions. You lose, like, Christmas was her time of year,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a matter of, okay, how do we even approach Christmas? Because right after Christmas was her birthday, so it was like a big
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
celebration, and it was like, how do we even approach these things now without her?
Yeah.
And my take on it was, I'm just going to do it big. you know, as
Mm-hmm.
in honor of her. I did, the decorating in her colors, and
Mm-hmm.
it was okay. I'm doing all of this in her honor. But the thing is, as a family, all of us were going through our own issues
Mm-hmm.
separately in our lives. All of us were at different stages of the grief process.
Mm-hmm.
And so the family dynamic was even a little off,
Changed. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
for a few days. But it's a process. So when you see yourself kind of at that low point, you go say, I
Mm.
have to do better,
Yeah.
and I have to. And I will tell you, I knew exactly when it started to turn. Was one particular Saturday morning, dragged myself out of bed. I was miserable with everybody. Didn't want to go to church. Didn't want to go anywhere. And I turned on music, which is always the thing to get me through. And this song, "Just Be Held," I don't know if you know it, but "Just Be Held," the beginning of the words is, "Hold it all together, everyone needs you strong."
Wow.
Right? I think I have it here because I said I will says, "Hold all together, everyone needs you strong, but life hits you out of nowhere and barely leaves you holding on. And when
Mm-hmm.
you're tired of fighting, you're chained by your control, there's freedom in surrender. So lay it down and let it go." I'll tell you all to go and listen to the rest of the song. But I
Yeah.
sat there and just cried
Yeah.
because I said, that's exactly it. This song that I've heard a million times before. It's
Mm-hmm.
telling me, hold it all together, everyone needs you strong. Because that's what I thought I needed to do.
Yeah.
Everyone needed me. And so I need to be there for everyone else.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of, I don't need to be strong, right?
Yeah.
God
You needed to be
allows
there
us.
for you.
Yes. And, to a point, I was almost a little upset about the level of support that I got from people close to me. It was like, you're going with expectations. You're
Mm.
supposed to do this. You're supposed to help me grieve in this way. I wasn't verbalizing it to anybody.
Yeah.
But when I wasn't getting it back, it's like, really?
Yeah. 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 The expectation.
Yes, your own expectations about what you want in return. And so it's just it's not just about losing the person. It's about losing your identity a little bit, losing your normalcy, losing your traditions, your friendship, what the all the things that could have been. I just bought my home, and there was a room that was there for mom.
Just for mom. Yeah.
So it's like, woman, how dare you die? Did you know the plans we had?
Yeah.
So it's going through that process of seeing yourself at your lowest point,
Yeah.
and then being able to realize, life just cannot continue this way.
Yeah.
And how am I going to pick myself up and move on?
Mm-hmm. Now, I've heard you touch on, so the traditional way of talking about grief is the denial, the blaming, the anger, the depression, and then the acceptance. We're going to take a quick break, and I hear you talking about those things, but I want to hear when we come back, like for somebody who's listening, does it all come tied in a nice tidy bow? Do you go through those stages one after the other, or is it a blend of things? And if so, how did you deal with that? How did you go through that landscape of changing emotions that comes with grief? And then what have you done since you have become a little bit more aware? But we're going to take a break. That's a lot in one question. We're going to take a break and come back.
Sure.
So anxious resistant. So remember there were 4 categories, right? Mm-hmm. So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection. All right, welcome back. If you've been following along with us, we've been having a really great conversation with Kathia Hylton, talking about her journey through grief, her journey to healing, what that experience has been like as we've talked through the loss of her mom. And I know that there are many people who are watching and who will watch this in the future that you're going through a similar journey. And so I encourage you to follow along, listen to us, and kind of see what insights you can glean from us tonight. I think this has been such a great conversation so far, such a relatable conversation. So we want to get to the question now, Kathia. Like I said before, so you're talking about it. I hear the denial. I hear the anger. I hear the depression. I hear all of these different aspects of the grieving process. Is it a tidy thing?
I wish. This is something that you learn in school, and as a counselor, you learn it in school, and you're teaching it back to other people, and no, grief is such a complicated mess. I wish it was all, like you said, in a tiny bow. But I've heard people describe grief as like this wave or a roller coaster. One day you're fine, all is well, and then it takes a scent, a song, someone that you may see. I remember one day in church, it's fine, everything is good, and I saw a mother and daughter walk into church and sit down in front of me. And church was such an integral part of my relationship with mom. We both attended the same church. We were involved in the same activities, and that's something we would do, sit together in church. And here I was, happy as a lark. And then next thing you know is crying and snotting all over the place, and it was a mess. So it takes, one day you think you're okay, and I got this together. And in March, we celebrated 5 years, not celebrated, but we had our 5-year anniversary of her passing. And I would say I'm just starting to come out of the darkness. I'm just starting to see my way through. But I still have the days where I'm reaching for the phone. Oh, mom would love to hear this. And then I go, whoa, no, I can't call her. And then you're down in it again. So it's people tell you, oh, time will heal. Time does not heal. I'm sorry to say, but with time, you learn how to deal with that new reality.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to understand that there are days you're going to feel like you're handling it better than others. And then other days you're just like, man, I thought I was over this part of it. And but verbalizing my expectations,
Yeah.
right? Instead of getting upset about, well, why aren't you giving this to me? I was then able to now verbalize, I wish that you would, or can you please, just asking, can you please help me? Can you please sit with me? Can you please tell me this? Like, I learned how to speak up and not think that people, because how I and love languages, I know how I how I would function, right? If I needed to comfort someone. And so I expect that someone is going to do that to me.
Yeah.
But they may not know that. They may not have that skill. And so I learned that I needed to speak up and be able to let go of the control and allow someone else to care for me, allow someone else to look out for me. And I will tell you, someone who really stepped up was my daughter. Never ever thought, but she's the one now that's, Mom, we need to do this, or you need to do this. And I will tell you, I even started to pull away from my children because I know my level of pain because of my close relationship I had with my mother. So maybe if I pulled away from them or pushed them away a little bit, if anything happened to me, they won't be as messed up as I was, as my siblings were. But she's the one that came with the common sense, and kind of went, that's ridiculous. But just letting go of the control, speaking up for myself, allowing myself to be cared for, allowing myself to not have those scheduled grieving times, but being able to openly express and cry when I felt that I needed to. So that has been my journey. That has been my process.
What's changed since you've allowed yourself to verbalize, to start, receiving the things, asking for the things that you need, not scheduling the grief? Like, what's changed for you since you've seen those things happen for you?
A lot has changed in the sense that, I've started on the journey of self-care. Something that I didn't think I was allowed to have, or yeah, we all say, yeah, I should have it, but do we actually really truly believe it? And so that was a big thing for me, knowing that I was also entitled to, a certain type of treatment. So it was more of an internal thing, realizing that I know what I want to say, and I'm just trying to find the best words to say it. But I struggled with asking for help a lot as well. And I'm slowly, very slowly, giving that part of it up and being okay with asking for help. It's more, the biggest change has been myself, has been learning how to be a better mom, learning how to be a better sibling, a better wife, and trying my best to honor my mother's memory through the way I live. That has been, it moved from being reliant on her for certain things to now realizing you are now the mother, you are now the person who needs to carry on her legacy, and just ensuring that I do that in the best way that I can. And so when you start thinking that way, to know, like, you are now this person who has to carry on this legacy, you open yourself up to a lot of opportunities, a lot of relationships, being able to give and receive love in different ways. And so it's just been a journey I continue to be on. Like, when you guys asked me, can you do this? I say, I don't know, because I haven't mastered it yet. I'm still here. I'm still going through it. Because I didn't allow myself to feel certain things for a good 3 years, 4 years. I just didn't allow myself to truly go there. And there are times I would cry and immediately start stopping myself and wiping the tears. And my husband would say, it's okay. You can do that. But I never allowed myself to until, recent enough. Yeah.
So Kathia, somebody is listening who is going through the early parts of this, maybe. What's something that you think they would benefit from knowing, having gone through the early parts of it? It's still here very much, but having gone through the early parts of it, what's something that somebody needs to hear?
Wow, which one? One of the things that I say to people now who have lost loved ones, I would say, allow yourself to cry. Mm-hmm. Allow yourself to feel every feeling that you feel. Be upset with God. Be upset with the people around you. Be upset with the person who died. Mm-hmm. Feel every feeling that you need to feel, because that is your process. And when you don't allow yourself to feel and question and get angry and get really sad, and when you don't allow yourself to feel all of you slow down your growth. Mm-hmm. You slow down your own process. Mm-hmm. Ask for help. Find that support system, even if it's a hotline somewhere. Mm-hmm. But find that support system and be very vocal about what you need. Yeah. Right? I need peace and quiet right now. Can you give that to me? Mm-hmm. Or I need to be around people. I can tell you, my husband experiences grief different from I did in the house. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be around other people, right? Whether I was talking about my mother or not, I wanted to talk about her, but I found other people didn't want to talk about her because they thought I'd be too sad, right? Mm-hmm. And so what was happening was my husband gave me, and I'm saying this, what he thought I wanted, because that's what he would want if the roles were turned, right? Which was, I'm going to give you space. I'm going to send you away on a trip by yourself. And
you're like, no, that's not what I want.
I don't want this. Yeah. But I needed it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so sometimes you have to allow other people to give you what you don't think you need, but that, at the time I was so miserable there. I was anxious to get back home. I was anxious to check back out of the hotel and just come back around my family. Mm-hmm. But in hindsight, I wish I had utilized that time better.
Yeah.
So feel everything you need to feel, accept the support that's out there. When people say things that are offensive, because they will, walk away, respond in a respectful manner as possible, whatever it is, but do not deprive yourself of going through the emotions, that roller coaster of emotions that will come. Yeah. It's inevitable, whether it's now or later.
You mentioned, as you were talking about the roller coaster of emotions, that people should also allow themselves to be angry at God. And I thought to myself about how you mentioned that one of the things that defined your relationship with Mom too was that environment, religion, the church. How did you navigate that, and what has your faith, how has your faith been impacted by this, and how do you draw strength now?
Whew. All right, I will tell you.
Question, I know.
Huh?
Loaded question.
No, and I was angry. Obviously, that we didn't have more time. Yeah. I was angry because God knew for me, I was like, God knew our plans. Mm-hmm. He knew that this woman was literally the glue to our family, and that with her gone, what's going to happen? Yeah. And so I was so upset about that. I was upset about him taking away this support system, not only for us as older people, but for the younger ones, my kids, my nieces, my nephews. This woman was now gone, and how dare he take her, right? And without giving me my last conversation with her in the hospital. I wanted that. Yeah. But there came a moment when I was explaining, I don't even remember how it came up, but had just arrived in Jamaica for the funeral. My daughter and I were in my mother's closet. Honestly, I don't know how the conversation started at this time, but I know I turned to her and I said, Carissa, God was merciful. I said, he was merciful. And I said, it's hard for me to really say he took her, but he was merciful. But put it to you this way. I was the morbid child who was always asking, well, when you die, what do you want? When you die, how do you see this happen? And, getting the plan.
Yeah.
And she had expressed that she wanted to go peacefully in her sleep, that she didn't want to suffer. And so I said, Carissa, look at that. She wanted to go peacefully in her sleep. She got it.
Yeah.
She just went to sleep. I looked at it and I said, she was at the point with her rheumatoid arthritis where it was starting to affect her mobility. She couldn't comb her hair the way she wanted to, or clean the house, or cook. And we were literally at the point where we were talking to her about getting help in the house and having to rely on somebody. And my mom is an independent woman. She doesn't want anyone cleaning or in the house or doing for her. So I knew that would have been a struggle. And so I thought about, if she continued to live, she would have suffered. She would have suffered more than she would have wanted to. And God knows how she would have passed. I don't know. But I had that light bulb moment of he was merciful, and he granted her the desires of her heart. It may have been that he took her before we were ready for her to go, right? But he was merciful to her, and just when she started to suffer was when he took her home. And so thank God, and and the fact that I listened, I saw where he was preparing me. Funny enough, I saw where he was preparing me, because when she that morning when she went to the doctor and then eventually to the hospital, I said to my husband, we're getting to the point in our lives where we have to realize that our parents are eventually going to get sick and pass. And that may have been a very morbid thought at the time, but like literally walking into the office building, that was my thought. Like, I need to get used to this idea that she's not always going to be here, that our parents are not always going to be here. Then that Tuesday night when she was admitted to the hospital, my brother took my mom to the doctor, and I said, make sure you recorded the entire visit. And so I sat there and I listened to the doctor's visit, and this thought literally hit me to say, that's the last time you're hearing your mother's voice. Like literally, I was the only one in the house. And I heard it clear, like someone said it to me. That's the last time you're going to hear your mother's voice. And I took up my phone and I messaged my brother and I said, before you leave the hospital, make sure I talk to mom. And he said, I just left and I couldn't leave her phone with her. So it was like, wow. But I look at the fact that God was preparing me, and then to give me that answer of, she's at peace, she's not suffering, she went the way that she had always wanted to go. And I'm like, God was being merciful. And as a result, that has helped my relationship to stay at that time very solid with God. Yes, I was angry, but I wasn't angry to the point where I was like, okay, I'm done with the church. That's it. But I saw where he was also guiding the process. And so I could not remain upset with him.
So you've described to us that, this is still very much in process. We're not at the end of the road, nor can we even really describe being at the end of a road with grief. You never really get there. You learn, like you said, to manage how you go through that. So you're still on this journey. Where do you anticipate it going from here?
Oh, that may be the hardest question yet.
Where do you want it to go from here?
I want it to go to a place where, and I think I'm almost there. We've been sitting here talking about mom, and I haven't shed a tear yet.
I saw that.
I'm a good girl, even though I have my box of tissues. So that's where I want to be, where I can share my memories of her and think about my memories of her, and we can sit and laugh as a family about who she was and who we remember her being, and to be at events and functions without breaking into tears over the fact that she's missing out and that we are missing her presence. Um, I think where I want it to be is just to be at a place where I'm at peace.
Yeah.
I'm at peace with what has happened. I'm at peace with where we are as a family, and where each of us, and I think we're there. I look at where my siblings are in life. I look at where I am in life, where the grandkids are, her grandkids are, and she would have been proud.
Yeah.
She would have been proud. She would have been happy for all of us. And that is really ultimately, as I'd mentioned, just living out her legacy, being able to see a little bit of her in every single one of us, and knowing that if she were still here, she would have been one proud mama.
Yeah.
And so I just wanna live the life that she would have wanted me to live.
I find myself thinking about that last stage, acceptance, right? And I think for a lot of people, before you go through that process, or before you have a kind of intimate relationship with the process of grief, sometimes you think acceptance means that you're okay with what happened. And I don't think that's what you're describing. You're describing, no, I'm not okay with the fact that this happened, but I am accepting of this is life as it is now.
Yeah.
And we can still celebrate what we had, but continue to move forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good place. I think that we all in our journeys to healing with grief, that can be that's a realistic place to aspire to. And then we know that at the end of the day, that God is going to wipe away all of our tears, and we get to be reunited, which is pretty great.
I can tell you, Zephaniah 3:17. Also, it's now my favorite Bible verse, and I will share it with you, where it says, "For the Lord your God is living among you. He's a mighty Savior. He will take delight in you with gladness, with his love. He will calm all your fears. He will sing over you with joyful song." And I love it. I love the fact that it shows God almost as a maternal figure. And as a mother, I picture him just like how I would cradle my kids and pull them on my lap and hug them and sing and stroke them and say everything is going to be okay. When I read this Bible verse, I literally see God doing that for us, hugging us and comforting us and singing over us and saying it's going to be okay. Like, things are not always great. Sometimes, yes, you're going to have to let go of control, but knowing that he's going to have you and he's comforting you and taking you through the process. We just need to let go and be a part of the process.
I love that. That's such a great visual. Such a comforting one.
Yeah.
Kathia, this has been a great conversation. Gosh, thanks for being vulnerable, open, taking us through this process for you. Because like we said in the beginning, this is a really hard thing to experience, let alone get to a place where you can share with others, where your journey has taken you. And, as somebody who has experienced loss myself with my own brother, I can relate a lot to what you have said. No, it's not the same thing as losing a mom, but those experiences and that roller coaster that you talked about, and being able to get to a place where, you know what, I can celebrate this, even though it still hurts at times.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
This has been another great Monday night with KW. Kathia, thanks for popping in, sharing with us. If you guys are listening along, whether you're watching us live or you're going to watch us days from now, weeks from now, months from now, whatever the case might be. Thank you so much for joining with us. Again, our goal here at Monday Night with KW is really just to join with others who are going through their own desperate cry and us learning how to heal together. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night. We will see you again next Monday for Monday Night Live. While you're logging off, don't hesitate to stop in at the website yet again, www.kwministries.net. Check out the shop, check out our products. You will not be disappointed. Kathia, have a great night. Again, we appreciate you. This has been such a great journey.
Thanks for the opportunity. Night.
Night.